So in this episode, we're really going to cover how you can get into the best shape of your life, okay? I've helped hundreds of individuals from all over the world. I've also mentored and coached other coaches to teach their clients. And really, it's what I'm passionate about, okay? So firstly, one of the things that a lot of people really miss when they're trying to get in amazing shape is they start a diet, but they haven't actually ever understood what has got them out of shape in the first place. Like, what has led to them being in this position that they are at. So I want for you to ask yourself, like, why are you in this body shape? Like, you're on this podcast right now because you want to improve your body shape. So what has got you to this point? Because what has got you here won't get you there. And what I mean by that is the eating, the behaviors, the actions, the environment, the mindset. That is not going to get you like to another level with your body, okay? So is it that you possibly need to improve your overall eating habits? Is it that you possibly stress eat? Is it that your energy management is off, so you find yourself going towards sugar in the day, or just eating to sort of switch off? Is it your time management that you could organize yourself better and make more effective use of your time so that you could get more training sessions done, you could get better quality food in, you could have more downtime? Like, there could be so many things. So there could, like, I could go on for days. It might be that you have an all or nothing mindset. You've possibly tried previous approaches, hasn't went well, and then the whole training and eating has went out the window. Like, it'll probably be a multiple reasons for why you're here. Now, I want you to really think about that. I really want you to squeeze the orange and see what comes out. Okay, so what do you think it could be? Okay, like, is it possibly a poor relationship with food? Like, once you go off track, it's a shit show for a matter of a few days. So, like, for me, like, even these are all aspects around your training, your food. They're quite surface level, but for me, even, I remember when I first started to get in shape, I would do all the training, but ultimately I didn't trust myself. Like, I didn't really believe in the back of my mind. I didn't have conviction that, right, I am going to be absolutely ripped. I am going to be in absolutely phenomenal shape. I always thought it was a thing that other people had and other people done, and I didn't. I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have the skills for it. I didn't have the body for it. I didn't have the genetics for it. And the reason why I thought that was, one, just where I was at mentally and how I viewed myself, but then two as well, I'd failed so many times or slipped up, because getting in shape is a process. So back to my point, I really want you to firstly identify what has got you here. Like, what do we need to change, okay? Before we think about, like, right, we need to strip off 30 pounds, we need to hit this PB, we need to be this amount of muscle, what has actually got you to date? Because if we layer on a whole new diet plan or a whole new training plan, and you just start with that, you'll never actually be able to really understand what it is you need to do, to really understand what it is you need to change for life. And when I work with someone, I get them in the best shape of their life, but ultimately I get them to have results for years on end. Okay, so that's the first thing I would say, is know what has got you to this position, what's got you out of shape or to a shape that you are not happy with. Okay, now the next thing I want to look at is, I want for you to think about these core drivers, okay? When you're getting in shape at the start, there's going to be things that you will need to focus on, but ultimately, like I said, long term, we want for you to be able to do a key set of behaviors and habits and not need to follow anything, like not need to think about it, for it just to be like brushing your teeth. That is ultimately where we want to get you to. So one of the first things is to think about your food management. And when I mean food management is think about what you're actually eating, okay? And how we start this off with is, what is your food quality like, okay? You and I both know eating chocolate or sweets or kebabs, it isn't going to get you in the best shape of your life. Now, these things are all in moderation or grand, but what foods, if you were to look at the last the last 2 weeks of food, if we were to get it literally out on a table, what would you say? Right, you need to start eating more of this, you need to stop eating this, you need to continue to eat this, or and a different sort of way of looking at it is you need to eat more of this, eat less of this, and continue to eat this. What foods come to mind? Think about that. Okay, so firstly, food quality. What foods do we need to slightly change around? The next thing there, what I want you to think about from a food management perspective is think about calories, okay? Now, I don't know what weight you currently are. I don't know how your metabolism is. I don't know all these different factors. And the internet doesn't know either. It might give you a good ballpark to begin with, but it does take a process to fully understand. But I want you to think about, right, actually getting your calories in place to say, for example, if you want to get leaner, that you're actually in that deficit. And you might, like we were doing some research and stuff with our results and how we can make things better, and we were analyzing things. And out of the last 200 clients that we've onboarded in our academy, there was like 73% that haven't actually tracked their calories for more than 14 days because they just couldn't see it through. They didn't know. They didn't have an understanding of it. They gave up. They got frustrated with it. Now, calorie management is key. So it is. And you've got to look at it from this perspective, right? Imagine your money was all over the place. You were leaking it. It was a mess. You would start to pay attention to the cost of things. You would start to pay attention to your money spending behaviors. You would start to spend attention to your saving. It's exactly the same with your eating. We've got to understand like what foods you're eating, how much of those foods are you eating. Now, I don't want for you to think like, right, you need to have every single thing tracked for the rest of your life. This is just an education process that you will need to go on so that you can really understand food, and you can just get to a position where you look at a meal and you roughly say, right, that's around 600 calories. I know that I need roughly around 2,000 calories to maintain my body weight. That's what we want to get you to. If you're not in the shape that you want to be in, your calorie alignment is just off. So we need to just understand what is it that you're eating and the quantities of those foods. And with eating and with food management, like I really want you to take this into consideration because not many people do, but you're going to be eating every single day for the rest of your life. You're also going to be living in your body for the rest of your life. And you're eating, like every single meal that you eat, on a short-term basis, it affects how you feel, it affects your energy, it affects how you perform, both physically and mentally, whether it be in work. In a midterm aspect, it affects how you look. And in a long-term aspect, it affects your overall health, your freedom from disease. So it's really, really, really important to get on top of. And ultimately, like, if you wouldn't want to give your eating to someone else, then there's something like if we were to say, right, you've got to give your whole eating habits to someone else. Like if there wasn't pride and you know that, right, that person, they're going to live incredibly, they're going to look incredible, they're going to have amazing energy, then that's something that you're possibly not proud of. And that's something that you know there is a few leaks, you know that there's a few things that could be better. Now, we've got work to do there. Okay, we've got work to do. Like, you want to take care of yourself. Like, one of the things that really sort of hit me, because I had a really, really poor relationship with food. One of the things that really hit me was when I remember I read something, and it was along the lines of eating is a form of self-respect. Like, eating well is a form of self-respect. And that hit me because I knew my eating wasn't well, and I knew that I wasn't respecting myself. Yes, we all know that we need to eat better, but why isn't it that we're not doing it? Okay? And then from there, I really started to work on it. I'm human too. Like, I still have a few slip-ups. I still make poor decisions, but my decisions are better than they are a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So I really just want you to take that into consideration. And then the last thing, like, if you really want to get in amazing shape with your food management and things, just like, let's keep this super simple. Let's just really focus on, right, and having enough protein, having enough veg, okay, and really just making sure that you're eating good quality foods, okay? You're just eating good quality foods. Like, that fuel you, that give you high performance, that give you energy. Okay, so the first core driver, to recap on that, is we need food management. Okay, we need our quality, we need our calorie alignment in place, and we need the protein in place. Okay, now, like the next thing I want you to think about here is your training. Okay, the first question I want to ask you is, if you were to continue training the way you are, would it get you into absolutely incredible shape? It'll either be a yes or a no, with how you show up, with the frequency that you show up, with the clarity that you show up, and the intent that you show up into your sessions. That's what we've now got to focus on. So I want for you to really think about, right, when are my training appointments? And I want you to see it as an appointment, okay? If you had an appointment, you'd have to turn up. You put a time in the diary, you put it in the schedule. And I totally understand that, like, your lifestyle, it might be all over the place. You might have different days. You might be on shifts. You might have work. You might have kids. And some days you do have to be dynamic. But I would encourage you to even set, right, I'm going to get this day, this day, this day. Like, set those training appointments in place, okay? And just like an appointment, if you miss it, you have to give a reason, okay? This slight little reframe is massive. It is massive just for overall adherence and actually being consistent, okay? And, like, guys, you don't need to be in the gym 5, 6, 7 times a week to be in absolutely phenomenal shape. And, like, the thing is as well, guys, is like, you might be saying to yourself, you're too busy, you're too this, but, like, really, once you start actually sitting down at the end of every week and you start looking at your days and you start planning and you start to be more effective, you will notice that there is so much more time for you to train than what you currently think. And when you start to see the effects of it, how you feel better, how you're better, how the sense of pride, how other people notice you, like, you'll make time for it, okay? So I want you to put in your training appointments. I want you to put in what you're actually training. And coming out of your training sessions, I want you to come out with, like have performance metrics in place and come out with progress. Like, there is no point spending 3-4 hours a week in the gym but not actually coming out with, like, something to show for it, with development. We've got to be getting stronger, fitter month on month, okay? Now, the third core driver I really want you to take into place here is, I want you to think about your steps. I want you to think about movement, okay? Now, we can do all the training, but if we are trying to get leaner, and also as well, just from a mental perspective and just from an energy management perspective, just like just being able to process a day, having some time to yourself, like, just moving is going to be great for you. But back to my point, steps is key, because we don't burn the same, like, we burn a lot more calories outside of the gym by moving rather than our actual sessions. Our sessions are important. The way you want to think of your sessions is for the muscle building, okay? Whether you're in a lean phase, but just thinking about it from that, and then outside of the session, you want to think about that is what we really manipulate to create fat loss with your food and with your steps. So I want you to think about, right, how can you get more steps in? And frequency, I notice, is better for clients, okay? So this could be like a 10-15 minute block before work. This could be a middle of the day. This could be at the end of the day. This could be with your partner. Like, we've got to just increase that overall step count. Now, if you're already hitting 15K, well, I was like, don't stress, okay? But just making sure that your step count is aligned and that you are moving. And again, like, the thing is if we can only get a certain amount of steps, if we can only get a certain amount of sessions, we might need to rely a little bit more on those steps. And, like, we've got a way, like, if you want, just send me a message on Instagram. We've got like 50 ways to get more steps in. You can do loads of things, like, say, for example, taking a work conference call while you're walking about, just around the room, texting while you're walking about. Like, all these little things can add up massively across the course of a week. So they can. And, like, one thing I noticed just recently is, like, steps is one thing, okay? This should be like just a daily thing that you should really consider. But I just want you to really go. I don't want you to stay there. Like, that's just a baseline standard. Because I'm seeing a few guys that are ultimately getting steps, but like, they're then telling themselves, right, they're doing enough, okay? You've got so much more in you. You really do, okay? So I don't want you to stop there. I want you to progress, and I want you to hit higher limits. I want you to demand more from yourself. Now, the next core driver I want you to think about is your energy, okay? Because are you going to eat well on low energy? Are you going to train well on low energy? Are you going to think and operate well on low energy? The difference between us as well, between us and any other program is, yes, we get you in the best shape, but we get you thinking differently. We get you to perform really well, not just like physically, but also mentally with your work, with your life. We get you to really like coach yourself. Like we teach you to do that, and that's what I want for you to do. I want for you, like, hopefully throughout listening to this podcast, you start to ask yourself higher quality questions. You start to get in better shape. You start to get an insight to how we do things, and you apply it to yourself. So, like, I really want you to focus on your energy. I really want you to think about, right, what things can you do to optimize energy? When do you have downtime planned? What could you do to come off scrolling? How could we manage your caffeine better? How could we manage your boundaries better? How could we ensure that you've got allocated days for certain things, whether it be life admin, whether it be a certain task in work, whether it be social time, all of these things, okay? Like, when you manage your energy better, you'll notice that your training performance will go up. You'll notice that you'll eat better. You'll notice that your body will also respond better to the stimulus that you're giving it. So really just like manage your energy, okay? Like focus on, right, how can I maximize my energy? At the end of the day, it's absolutely key, okay? Now, the next core driver that we focus on, and I want you to really take into place, is planning, okay? Like, planning is just absolutely key. Planning your days and planning your weeks, and even bigger than that. But I want you to think about, right, going into the day, what am I doing today? What am I training? When am I working? What's the high value task? What do I want to come out of today with? I really just want you to get very clear on planning. If you don't have a schedule, like, don't tell me that you'll do whatever it takes to get to your goals, all this malarkey. Like, start planning your sessions. And what you'll notice is it's by having this plan that you'll be more effective, that you'll actually have more downtime, more structure will create more downtime for you. And as well, like, you'll be able to just have clarity, just to have clarity of when things are getting done. And like, it's all these small things that when you have that planning habit, they don't fall through the cracks. Like, if you think about it, say for example, we're able to plan and you're able to squeeze in an extra session, that's 50 sessions in a year. If you don't plan and you just eat on the go, like, that's ultimately like 50, like if you were to do that once day a week, that's ultimately 50 days over the year plus. Like, planning will just help you so much. You've got like over 30,000 decisions to make a day. By planning, it reduces that amount, and it also just protects you so that you're making good quality decisions, okay? If we're going to get you into the best shape of your life, you behave your way to that with all of these little micro decisions, okay? These simple core drivers will help you so much, okay? Now, I want you to focus on your state, okay? I want you to, like, for us to get you in better shape, we need to focus on your state management, okay? When you are, say for example, you're binge eating, it's your state that's off before the actual eating, okay? You possibly feel stressed, lonely, anxious, tired, drained, bored, exhausted, all of these things. So if we focus on your state, we're able to manage your state, master your state. The poor action will happen. Also as well, like in your training, if we focus on your state, on really what you need to come out of that session with how you want to perform in that session, you will do better. You will lift more. You will create new adaptations. You will really drive forward with your training and with your overall physique. So we have to focus on your state, okay? Like, one thing that I love to think about when I'm training is, right, how would I perform myself, okay? Like, how can I ensure that I am like pouring all of my ability into this? How can I ensure that I am really just here in this moment, giving absolutely everything, okay? Just focusing on your state will be key, okay? It'll be so powerful. And even just like when you wake up, like, looking at things in a much more positive light, looking at things in a much more optimistic light, looking at the day as like, right, okay, what I need to get done between now and the time I put my head on the pillow, that type of state, that type of focus it just gets results. So it does. And even when there's periods when you're off, when there's periods when you are like low, like being able to manage and master your state to get you back up. Okay, look, I'm having a bad day. Some days these happens, but look at the evidence here. Okay, I've nailed the last 2 months. I've nailed the last 3 months. Like, grand scheme of things, I'm still moving forward. Okay, it's ensure that I don't have I don't have another bad day. I can get myself back up, etc. All of these type of things, but just focusing on your state. So looking at, right, when is my state usually off, and what I need to do so that I can ensure that I've got a good quality state so that I can get the results that I want. Like I said, this is both in body and in life too, okay? The last thing I want you to think about, guys, is I want you to think about being accountable. Okay, I want you to think about being accountable from a process perspective in regards to, right, if you said that you're going to do 4 sessions per week, like ticking those off as you go along in the week. As I said earlier on about calories, that's a form of accountability. Like, if you really are serious about getting in amazing shape, like every single Friday, taking your photos and actually looking at it. And like, at the end of the day, like, if you're really giving it everything, you will want to see those photos and you want to be proud of them. Okay, now you might not have this level of drive right now. Like, sometimes it takes time. Like, we get our guys focused, we get our guys in place, we get our guys accountable. But even for you right now, it could be simply just starting to track your calories. It could be simply starting to follow through with your training appointments. So just even think about one thing, but you need accountability. I have accountability. I have coaches that hold me accountable. Okay, because yeah, like, I might know things, but actually doing them are a completely different thing, and they hold me accountable to saying what I have to follow through with what I said I was going to do, and I need it. Okay, I need it. And accountability, it just drives a better standard from you. It pulls more from you. It pulls more progress out of you. There'll be days where you don't feel like it, but because you have to do it, because you've got your photos tomorrow, because you've got your training tomorrow, because you've said you got to go, it just keeps your standards in place. Okay, so get accountability in place. Get accountability in place for your training, for your food, for yourself, okay? And then the last thing I really want you to think about, so we've covered, the first thing is, right, what has got you to this position now? The second thing we've covered is your core drivers, but the third thing I now want you to think about is, like, why do you want this? Like, if you want to get in better shape, if you're going to really demand more from yourself, why do you want this? Like, why not stay the same, okay? Like, what will it do for you? If I gave you that best shape right now, what would be different? Would you have more confidence? Would you have more energy? Would you feel better? Would you have more drive in your training? Would you feel like you're a better role model to your kids? Would you feel like you really show a good quality work-life balance to your team, and you develop a better culture because you live by that? They look up to you. Like, is it so that you can possibly feel better for the opposite sex or your partner or whatever? What is it? Okay. I really just want you to get very clear on that. Okay. And like, it took me time. Like, at the start, I didn't know that I knew that, yeah, I wanted to feel better and stuff, and I knew I didn't really feel as confident. But over time, when I really started to think about how important this is for me, that's when I noticed I just achieved more. I just done more. I had more drive. I had more grit. I had more oomph to really go after it. So I really want you to think about that, okay? Because there's really 3 ways that this can go if you don't sort of like elevate your standards. The first way is, like, things can ultimately get worse and worse and worse, and you'll be in poorer shape in a year's time. The second way is you can coast along and be in the exact same shape. And again, I don't really want that. I don't want to put all this effort in. I don't want to try and eat well. I don't want to be in the same position. Like, I want to progress. I want to level up. I want for you to really see what's possible. Like, we don't just want to coast by and cruise and pass by time. We want to get things from our weeks. We want to achieve, like, more for ourselves. And then the third way is you can follow through on what this podcast has given you today. You can start eating better. You can start training better. You can start following these core drivers and see the results. Okay, so that's the question I really sort of want to leave you with is like, right, why do you want this? Okay, and this is something that when we sort of audit our guys, when we get really clear on, right, where are you now? What is it you want? We really unpack everything. We unpack their nutrition, their training, their lifestyle, but their mindset. And that's the thing that's ultimately going to help you really sort of push on. So I just want you to think about that, leaving and going forward. Okay. So guys, just to recap, again, want to keep this super, super impactful for you. I want you to think about, right, what has led you to this position right now? What do you need to draw a line on the sand on or work on? What's the hurdle that you're currently facing? Because if you just throw a 8-week, 12-week diet on top of it, it's never going to actually, you're not actually addressing the root problem. I want you to think about your core drivers, which is your food management, your training, your steps, your planning, your state, and your accountability. And I missed one here as well, is I want you to think about your wins, and I want you to celebrate those as you go along, because it just lands, it sits with you. You want to do more from that, okay? And then the last thing, guys, is I want you to think about why do you want this? Why not just stay the way we are? What do for you? How will benefit you, benefit those around you? Okay, so guys, as always, let me know if you find this useful. Please tag us on your stories. Share this with a friend. Any questions, feel free to follow me up every day when I'm out on my walk. I go through my Instagram and my Facebook inbox and stuff, and I answer questions. And yeah, guys, time to level up, time to go and get after it.